Ethics, Values and Vision. In order to understand this topic, it would be best to know the definition of the issues from the New Oxford Dictionary of English. There are 4 related words whose definition we should know: ethics, integrity, honest and moral. The dictionary definitions of the above are as follows. For ethics, it is moral principles that govern a person's behavior or the conduct of an activity. For integrity, the dictionary definition is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. The dictionary definition of honesty is free of deceit and untruthfulness and sincerity. The dictionary definition of moral is concerned with the principles of right and wrong behavior. Values are the important and lasting ideals shared by the like-minded people about what is good or bad. Values have major influence on a person's behavior and attitude and serve as broad guidelines in all situations. On the other hand, vision is an aspirational description of what a person or an organization would like to achieve in the long-term future. It is intended to serve as a clear guide for choosing current and future courses of action. This essay has drawn much information from the writings of Shiv Khera, educator and business consultant, and other internet sources. The ideas of ethics, values and vision can be seen with respect to Indian context. The 7 deadly sins according to Mahatma Gandhi are wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, knowledge without character, commerce without morality, science without humanity, religion without sacrifice, and politics without principle. Hindu philosophy believes that when good people pass away, they don't die, they only depart. Their names live on forever through their good deeds. As people pay their respects, the most common things talked about are the little acts of kindness performed by the person during his lifetime. Little acts of kindness don't go unnoticed. In fact, they are remembered a lot more after a person is gone. Our value system has undergone tremendous changes in the course of time. With constant exposure, what is intolerable becomes acceptable. And all through the process, reasoning keeps taking place. The most unfortunate part of life is when people plan to get money without earning it. It is easier to make money, but harder to keep it. Hard work teaches a person the value of money. That is why it is important that parents teach their children this lesson. Values in life have priceless character. People want to be an overnight success at the cost of their conscience, and it still doesn't work. Because true values are priceless, and in fact, the most precious things are those that money just can't buy. When our value system is not clear, getting what we want can be a bigger tragedy. The story of King Midas says it all. It is a famous story where a king wishes that whatever he touches shall turn to gold. His life becomes tragic when by his touch, his own daughter turns into a lifeless gold statue. Success begins with developing your personal success philosophy about your health, money, family, society, and values. Without a clearly defined purpose and a philosophy to guide you, life is guided by fantasies. There is another aspect to our value system, that is commitment. An integral part of a good value system is commitment. When our value system is clear, it becomes a lot easier to make decisions and commitments. For example, you can't make a commitment to your country by selling secrets to the enemy. You can't keep a friend by revealing to others what he told you in confidence. You can't keep a commitment to a job by trying to do as little as possible. Unkept commitments result in dishonest behavior. The relationships between a parent and a child, husband and wife, student and teacher, customer and salesman, employer and employee, friend and friend survive only if there is commitment. Lack of commitment would destabilize relationships and lead to insecurity. No one would know where they stand with each other. Commitment implies dependability, reliability, predictability, consistency, caring, empathy, a sense of duty, sincerity, character, integrity, and loyalty. Commitment is not like a legal contract which is enforceable. Its foundation is not a signed piece of paper. The virtues of commitment are: commitment to friendship implies maintaining confidentiality. Commitment to customer implies giving good service. Commitment to marriage implies fidelity. Commitment to decency implies staying away from vulgarity. Commitment to patriotism implies sacrifice. Commitment to job implies integrity. Commitment to community implies responsibility. Commitment is a sign of maturity. Individuals with strong commitments build strong communities. In life, there are many situations where one has to choose the right commitment. The process of making a choice between the two commitments would involve priority, responsibility, and duty. Keeping commitment shows strength of character. Now this brings the question of what is our greatest commitment? What if we made a commitment that is wrong or unethical unintentionally, which totally goes against our values and conscience? That is the time to re-evaluate whether or not to go forward. And to whom do we owe loyalties? Is it individuals or organizations? The answer is none of them. We owe our loyalties to values. Where the value system is conflicting, people cannot live in the same home, nor can they work in the same organization. And failed commitments lead to broken homes, abandoned children, poor relationships, high stress levels, guilt, an unfulfilled life, loss of business, isolation, and depression. Therefore, make a commitment and stay committed. Now let's talk about ethics. Bad circumstances are not excuses for making bad choices and leading poor lives. Values and ethics are not just designed for good times, but also to prevent bad times. They are like the laws of the land which you need when people are good, and you need even more to protect them from the bad. Most choices are not ethical choices. Personal choices are subjective, not objective, and even though these are not ethical issues, they certainly involve responsibility. Ethical choices, on the other hand, reflect objectivity between right and wrong. That is why our conscience hurts when making an unethical choice and does not hurt when making a wrong personal choice. Choices are personal because the person makes it, but the rightness or wrongness does not change from person to person. In fact, most of our choices today are based on our desire for convenience, comfort, and pleasure. Our feeling, do what feels good, it is good for you. The criteria is to feel good rather than doing what is responsible. And lastly, social trends. Everyone else is doing it, so should I. It is a common belief that ethics and ethical choices are confusing. This brings to the question of why do we have standards? They are a measure. For example, 1 kilogram of flour is 1 kilogram of flour wherever you go. The generalization sets the benchmark. For example, giving money to the hungry for food is right, but at the same time, giving money to buy drugs is not. A person's interests other than his job tell much about him. The way a person spends his leisure time reflects on his performance at work. Our standard of ethics is revealed by the advisors we hire, the suppliers we pick, and the buyers we deal with. Opinions may vary from culture to culture, but values such as fairness, justice, integrity, and commitment are universal and eternal. They have nothing to do with culture. Never has there been a time when society has not respected courage over cowardice. Ethics and justice involve the following: empathy, fairness, compassion for the injured, and the larger interest of society. Just because more people agree on something doesn't make it right. For example, if your colleagues are taking bribe and to believe that taking bribe is right is no justification. Nor does it make your judgment or argument ethical. Just like the laws of gravity, ethics are pretty universal. Just as freedom without discipline leads to destruction, similarly, society without a set of principles destroys itself. A society becomes good or bad based on the ethical values of individuals, and what gives society its strength is ethical values. Some people enjoy taking drugs. It makes them feel good. But does that make it good? The very fact that the UPSC has introduced the subject of ethics as a compulsory subject brings out the importance of the subject for the would-be civil service officers. It is rather unfortunate that an average graduate student these days gets no training in these areas. Ethics are usually left to be addressed by the parents. The result is that in this country, young people who need moral and ethical training more than ever are not getting much of it. Morals and ethics are not a religion. They are logical, sensible principles of good conduct that we need for a peaceful society. One important aspect that needs to be considered in relevance of law and ethics, that is ethics and legality. Most will agree that legality and ethics are not the same thing. What may be ethical may or may not be legal, and vice versa. For example, it would be unethical not to get medical help to save the kid's life, even if it meant to beat signals and thus breaking the law. Legality establishes minimum standards, whereas ethics and values go beyond those standards. Ethics and values are about fairness and justice. It is not about pleasing or displeasing people. It is about respecting people's needs and rights. Our life is driven by purpose, and behind every purpose there is desire. But such desire-driven purpose should be something worth working towards, for which gives meaning to life. Purpose brings passion. Find or create a purpose and then pursue it with passion and perseverance. Every day we need to ask ourselves the question, am I getting any closer to my purpose in life? If the answer is no, then I've just wasted a day of my life. Life will reward us in proportion to our contribution. The earlier we find a purpose in life, the better it is. It appears that the greatest challenge comes in the unending search for the purpose of life. Once our purpose and values are clear, conflicts between self-interest and social obligations find a moral balance between themselves. We become aware of when to take a stand. That is the time we start making the right decisions for long-term gain rather than making the wrong decisions for short-term gain. Wisdom and maturity lead to greater understanding of major issues. Mahatma Gandhi's saying is worth remembering in this context. Study as if you were to live forever. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Life is not about winning a situation or an award, but as Mark Twain said, it is better to deserve an honor and not have it than to have it and not deserve it. If winning is the only objective, a person may miss out on the internal rewards that come with winning. More important than winning is winning with honor. It is better to lose honorably than to succeed with dishonesty. Losing honorably may signify lack of preparation, but dishonest winning signifies lack of character. Values such as responsibility, integrity, commitment, and patriotism are considered old by some. They may be old values, but they are certainly not obsolete. They have stood the test of time and will be here forever. These values have the same meaning in New York as in New Delhi or New Zealand. They are universal. In any society, basic immorality and injustice leads to misery. The greedy and inconsiderate who seek immoral pleasures must be stopped by those committed with values. We have strayed in the process of change. Any society that has lost its moral bearing is heading for disaster because all failures in history have been moral failures. Let us consider in the overall context of good societal behavior, what is goodness? If you took a survey asking people one question, what makes you good? Responses will be, I don't cheat, so I am good. I don't lie, so that makes me good. I don't steal, so I am good. If you analyze the above rationales, there is not much substance in them. A person becomes good when he actually does good rather than not doing wrong. A person of values would be one who has qualities such as fairness, compassion, courage, integrity, empathy, humility, loyalty, and courtesy. What makes a person with these qualities a good person? It is because these are the kind of people who are dependable, stand up for justice, help the needy, make life better for themselves and those around them. To recognize goodness in all its forms, we need benchmarks and standards. Benchmarks can be ethical or legal or both. Ethical ones deal with right and wrong and all the grey areas that are in between, leading to what is good and more good and what is bad and more bad. What affects ethics? They are greed, fear, and pressure. Pressure to perform does not justify unethical acts. To be treated fairly is not the same thing as being treated equally. Ethics or lack of it is evident in every profession. Greedy doctors do unnecessary procedures and surgery. Lawyers bend the truth. Parents and children alike tell white lies. Accountants and secretaries often falsify reports. When we cheat the people around us, most of all we are cheating ourselves. We are preparing ourselves to be cheated. Prosperity brings responsibility. We cannot build industry and infrastructure while destroying the moral and social fiber. The consequences of not following ethical behavior are the same as not following legal behavior. Some people will never be ethical. They think that they are taking the easy way. In reality, it is the tougher way. We need to have a strong vision of life so that values and ethics become an essential part of our lives. Why don't people achieve excellence? The big reason is the lack of vision or limited vision. We need to dream beyond what is possible. Everything that we see today was a dream before it became reality. Live with enthusiasm, direction, and with a sense of purpose. Get your advice from successful people and not from living failures who will tell you how to succeed. There is a beautiful Oriental saying which says, "Where the vision is 1 year, cultivate flowers. Where the vision is 10 years, cultivate trees. And where the vision is eternity, cultivate people."